Yeah, good morning, students. Myself Srinivas. So already we have dealt with first year organic chemistry, which is very important. That is the basics for the second year organic, right? So in that chapter, just I am going to revise you. What are the main fundamentals in that? In that, isomerism is very important part because you are going to learn second year organic chemistry everywhere it will come. So I will start isomerism first. Okay. Most of the concepts are clear already to you. So just it is a like revision lecture. So if I am not audible or if the board is not clear, message me. I can read the messages. Okay. So isomerism. So what do you mean by isomerism? So it is nothing but two or more compounds having same molecular formula but different physical and chemical properties. Then those two molecules are called as isomers. Compounds having same molecular formula but different physical and chemical properties. And the phenomenon is called as isomerism. Okay. So you might be knowing that. So iso means same, mers means parts, same parts of the molecule, but having different physical and chemical properties. So isomerism is broadly divided into two categories. One is structural isomerism, and next one stereoisomerism. So isomerism, okay. Yes, that's what I mean. So is it font not clear? I will increase this. Structural isomerism and stereoisomerism. Okay. So isomerism is broadly classified into two categories. One is structural, other one is stereo. So this structural isomerism is also called as constitutional isomerism. What do you call? Constitutional isomerism. This structural isomerism is further divided into 5 categories: chain, position, functional isomerism, metamerism, and tautomerism. Okay, this structural isomerism is again further classified into 5 categories: chain, position, functional, metamerism, and tautomerism. In some books, you might be seeing ring chain isomerism, but that is included in functional isomerism. So some will say 6, but maximum 5, most of the books. Now, coming to stereoisomerism, it is classified into 2 types. One is geometrical. Stereoisomerism is further classified into 2 categories. Here you can see. Stereo, I am writing again separately. Stereoisomerism can be classified into 2 categories. One is configurational isomerism and conformational isomerism. Configurational and conformational isomerism. Okay. This configurational isomerism is further classified into 2 types: geometrical isomerism and optical isomerism. This you already know. Okay. Once again, isomerism is broadly classified into structural and stereo. Structural further 5 types, and stereo 2 types: configurational and conformational isomerism. Okay. Next, configurational is further classified into geometrical and optical. So geometrical, you know, again, cis trans and EZ. Optical enantiomers and diastereomers, that we will see later. Okay. And this means what is meant by structural isomerism? What is meant by structural isomerism? Compounds having same molecular formula, yes. but different in the structural arrangement of atoms or groups. Of course, they have different physical and chemical properties. Okay, next, what is meant by stereoisomerism? Compounds having same structural and molecular formula, but the three-dimensional space, the spatial arrangement of the atoms or groups will be different. That is called stereo. Just I am giving one idea. Again, stereo is classified into two types. Yes, different spatial arrangement. Now, configurational and conformational, if you see, what do you mean by conformational isomer? Conformational isomerism means the isomers which are formed by carbon-carbon free rotation, carbon-carbon single bond free rotation, they will form different isomers. Those isomers are called as conformational isomers. The isomers which are formed by free rotation of carbon-carbon single bond. Okay, so generally you'll see in alkanes and cycloalkanes this type of isomers. Generally, I'm talking about. So the carbon-carbon bond is free to rotate. So you might have listen the gauge form, skew form, staggered form, anti-staggered, eclipse form. So those things, right? So these isomers are not the true isomers actually. Conformational isomers are not the true isomers. Why? Because you can't separate them, you can't isolate them. And they are interconvertible. They are interconvertible. So that is why we can't separate them. Okay, conformational isomerism. Understood? Mainly for alkenes you will have. Eclipse release table, like that you might have seen. That we will talk about later. And next, what is meant by configurational isomerism? So what are the main points in this? There are the true isomers. They are not the true isomers. They are not the true isomers. First point. They can't separate them. They are insoluble. They cannot separate. We can't separate them because they are interconvertible at room temperature. Okay. From gauge form to staggered form to eclipse form, they will be interconvertible. Energy required for them will be very less. So we can't convert them. So those are. And coming to configurational isomerism. What are configurational isomers? So configurational isomerism, opposite of that. What is that? The isomers which are formed by the restricted rotation of carbon-carbon double bond. We call isomers which are formed by restricted rotation. Carbon-carbon double bond will not rotate freely. Okay, it will break. So the isomers which are formed by the restricted rotation of carbon-carbon double bond, carbon-nitrogen double bond, or nitrogen-nitrogen double bond. So any restricted rotation is there means that type of isomers are called configurational isomers. You can also take cycloalkanes case also. But cycloalkanes, what is the condition for that? To exhibit configurational isomerism? Cycloalkanes in which the ring atom, the two ring atoms should have different, atoms or groups. So every atom in the cycloalkane can has the ability to show configurational isomerism, but provided what should be there? Those two groups should be different. Okay, the two groups are the atoms present at the two ring carbons should be different. Fine. So that we will see later. Next one. So I am focusing about this structural isomerism today. Today my topic is about the structural isomerism. In that 5 classifications are there. First one, chain, position, functional, metamerism, and tautomerism. So what do you mean by chain isomerism? So before going to the isomerism or number of isomers to calculate, you should know one thing that is called double bond equivalence, DU, or degree of unsaturation. Have you heard about it? Degree of unsaturation or double bond equivalence. So that will decide the number of pi bonds or rings. Yes, very good, very good. So number of pi bonds or rings present in a molecule. Double bond equivalence or degree of unsaturation. Yes. Yes, anyone can define what is that? Or index of hydrogen deficiency. So this you should know. The degree of unsaturation Yes, or double bond equivalence. Or degree of hydrogen deficiency. So this you should know. So this is used to find the number of pi bonds or rings, whether their pi bond is ring is present in a molecule or not, can be known with the help of this. Okay, what can we know? Whether a double bond or a pi bond, the pi bond or a ring, pi bond or a ring is present in the molecule or not. Molecule or not. This is very easy. Different formulas are there. I tell normal easy method. Just you have to compare the given formula with a saturated compound. So what is saturated compound? CnH2n plus 2. Alkane formula you have to compare that. Then how many hydrogens are less? Those many hydrogens, the difference hydrogens divided by 2 is the double bond equivalence. Suppose if you have C4H8. So what is the degree of unsaturation for this? So you compare with the saturated one, C4H10. So what is the hydrogen difference here? 2. So 2 by 2 you do, that is 1. So 1 is the degree of unsaturation. Means there is one pi bond in the system or there is one ring in the system. Suppose the same thing if it is C4H6 is there. Then how to calculate the double bond equivalence? C4H6 means you compare with this C4H10. You compare it. So now how many hydrogens are different here? 10 minus 6, 4 by 2, that is 2. So 2 is the degree of unsaturation or degree of hydrogen deficiency or double bond equivalence, right? Means what do you mean by this 2? 2 means it may have 2 pi bonds. So 2 pi bonds can be in a what manner? Maybe one triple bond can be present because in one triple bond, one is sigma bond and 2 are pi bonds. Or it may be 2 double bonds. 2 double bonds also can be present. 2 pi bonds can be of 2 men, right? Or else, what are the other possibilities? Can you see here? 1 triple bond or 2 double bond. And what is the other possibility? It may have 1 pi bond and 1 ring it may have. Correct? 1 ring also it may have. Or else, what is the other possibility? It may have 2 rings. It may have 2 rings. So these are the various possibilities. For a degree of unsaturation 2. In the same way, you can calculate for 3. So how to calculate degree of unsaturation if any heteroatom is present, like halogen or nitrogen or phosphorus or oxygen? How to present that? So that we will see now. This part is understood, children. So by seeing the formula, we can find whether the double bond is present or the ring is present. So based on that, we can see the number of isomers. That is why this is important before going to the isomerism part. So next we will see, suppose a compound is having halogen, what to do? Like C3H5, X is there. C3H5, X is there. So what is the number of C3H3X is there? Suppose this is the model. C3H3X. So how to calculate double bond equivalence? So before that, we should know the points. If halogen is present along with the compound, what to do? So we have to add one hydrogen for that. Okay. So if halogen is present along with that, add one hydrogen, like equal to one hydrogen it is. If nitrogen is present or phosphorus is present, remove one hydrogen in the total. And if oxygen is present, no change. If oxygen is present, then no change. Okay. So if we take an example of alkene, suppose we know like this compound, one is H and one is X. H. And suppose this is there, we know by looking into it, it is having one double bond. So what is the formula, children? This is CH3, CH3, C2H3. Okay, suppose this is there. How to calculate the double bond equivalence in this case? So compare with the saturated formula C2H6, right? So actually here 3 hydrogens are there and 1 X is there. So what you have to do? For halogen you have to treat it as 1 hydrogen and add that. So here how many hydrogens are there? 4 hydrogens. Here 6 hydrogens are there. So 6 minus 4, 2. By 2 you have to do. That is 1. Okay. Suppose nitrogen is there. Like C3, H8, N2. Suppose. Okay. Then what you have to do? Total you compare with an saturated compound C3H8. If you compare with the saturated compound, this C3H8. So here how many hydrogens are there means it is not 8 children. You have to remove 8 plus 2 nitrogens are there means remove 1 hydrogen for 1 nitrogen or 1 phosphorus. These are the rules, that's it. So here how many nitrogens are there? 2 nitrogens are there. So that is C3H6 children. It is not with it. So what is the double bond equivalence here? Hydrogens 8 minus 6 is 2 by 2 1. So here one double bond is present or one ring is present. That's what you have to guess it. And suppose if you take C3H6O2 like this, then no need to count anything. If oxygen is there, no change. Just you calculate the hydrogens as it is, how many are present in the given compound, those only you take. So that is C3H8 is the saturated partner for this. And in this 8 minus 6 is 2. So here also double bond equivalence is 1. Are you getting my point? Yes, correct, Kiran. Right? So suppose if it is C4H6N2, can you find how many double bond equivalence for this? Message me, children. C4H6N2. How many double bond equivalence are present in that? Yes, I want the messages. C4H6N2. How to calculate double bond equivalence or degree of unsaturation? DU. Yes, tell me. 3. Yes, Joshi. Correct. So C4H6 you have to compare with the open chain partner, that is C4H10 actually. Okay. But here how many hydrogens are there? Here 10 hydrogens are there minus here 6 hydrogens minus nitrogen you have to do because 2 nitrogens you have to remove hydrogen. So it is 4 children here. Here how many hydrogens are there? It is 4, not 6. Why? Because when nitrogen is there, remove 1 electron I told you. So 10 minus 4 is how much? 6 by 2 is 3. Correct. So 3 means you have various possibilities. I told you 3 double bonds it can be, or 1 pi bond, 1 triple bond and 2 double bonds. Okay, like that any possibilities is there, or 3 rings it can be present, or 2 rings plus 1 pi bond, 1 ring plus 2 pi bonds. These are the various ways. Okay, now shall we move to the one more last thing I will tell. Benzene, what is the degree of unsaturation? Benzene, degree of unsaturation. You might be knowing. So I only wrote the structure, but without writing that, you tell me. C6H6. What is the degree of unsaturation for that? Yes, message me. Yes, 4. So degree of unsaturation is 4. Why? Because compare with the open chain partner, that is C6H14. So 14 minus 6, that is 14 minus 6 is 8. Okay, 8 by 2 is 4. So 4 means it can be 3 pi bonds and 1 ring. It can have. Right? So cyclic 1 ring and 3 pi bonds. That's many possibilities are there. Okay. Now we will see the isomerism, mainly structural isomerism. In that, what is the first one? Chain isomerism. So what is meant by chain isomerism? So compounds having same molecular formula, but difference in the length of the chain of the parent carbon. Okay. Generally, we will see in alkanes the chain isomerism. So you can take butane formula or propane. What is the formula of propane? C3H8. Right? You can have propane. I have minimum carbons to exhibit chain isomerism. How many carbons minimum should be there for an alkane? Alkane, I am asking. Alkane to exhibit chain isomerism. Is it 3? Yes, very good. So with 3 it won't be possible. That's what I mean to say here. So C4H10 we can take. So one is butane and other one is methyl propane. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 bond length formula or skeleton formula might be known. This is butane or methyl propane or chain isomers. Like that you can see. Okay. Now this is easy. Mainly alkanes will exhibit. Even alkenes also will exhibit. Suppose if you take butene, what is the formula? C4H8 or isobutene. Isobutene, you know what is isobutene called? This one. Double bond will be here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. So this is isobutene and 1 butene and 2 butene. Like so, these two are what chain isomers because it is butene. It is 2-methyl propane. What do you call them? 2-methyl 1-propene or propene. Because always double bonded. So here the mother chain is propene. Here the parent chain is butene. So chain isomers is easy only. Now coming to the position isomers. So we'll focus more on functional isomers because that is important. So next, position isomer. What do you mean by position isomer or positional isomerism? Compounds having same molecular formula and same parent chain. Same parent chain means length of the carbon chain is same. Length of the carbon chain is same, but difference in position of the substituent or double bond, multiple bond, that may be double or triple, or functional group. So what is position isomerism? The running of time is showing. Compounds having same molecular formula, if it is switched off, then again come with the same idea. Compounds having same molecular formula and same parent chain, but difference in the position of the substituent or multiple bond or functional group. So that we call it as positional isomers. So we can see N-butene, 1-butene, and 2-butene. So what are these? Positional isomers. Because length of the carbon chain should be same, but there is change in the double bond children. Okay, next. 1-chloro and 2-chlorobutane. This is 1-chlorobutane, 2-chlorobutane. So change in the substituent. Okay. Next one, triple bond also you can see the same manner. This is 1-butane and 2-butane. And next, functional group. 1-propanol, 2-propanol like this. This is 2-propanol and this is 1-propanol. So distance in the change in the functional group also we can say for positional isomer. Suppose one question is there like this, they'll ask. Even for so what are the number of isomers possible for formula? This one. Ethyl benzene, suppose they have given you. This is called ethyl benzene. So what should be the formula for this? C8 5 6 7 H10 6 7 8 and hydrogen 5 6 7 plus 3 10. Yeah. C8 H10 is there suppose. So what type of isomers are possible for this? So one is this one. What are the other isomers possible for this? So you can have two substituted like this. That is called xylene, orthoxylene, metaxylene, paraxylene. Can take. So these are called xylene system. Whenever two CH3 groups are there, those are called as xylenes. And these are 1, 2 side by side positions are ortho, and this is meta, and this is para, and other one is ethyl benzene. So now if they are asking what are these 1, 2, 3, 4 structures, these two are related as positional isomers. And these two position. But this and this is chain isomer. This one and this one is chain isomer. Okay. So like that, if you take one more formula. that is C7H8O. So what is the double bond equivalence for that? C7H8O. Just to write the formula. 4. Yes, because C7H you have to take it as 16. So 16 minus 8 is 8. By 2 is 4. That's it. Don't count for oxygen. Okay, so what are the types of isomers present in that? Can you tell? One benzene ring can be there, 4 means. So this is called benzyl alcohol. Next. What is this? Cresol. Next. Metacresol and paracresol. Okay, like this you can say for isomers for any type of compound. It's running time, sir. So next we will see the main part, that is the heart of isomerism, functional isomerism. There you have to remember the sets. Actually, these two are called functional isomers. So I am talking about these three. These three are chain isomers. This and this is functional isomers. Why? Because alcohol and phenol with the same very, very important point in IIT JEE means. This is actually an alcohol and this is phenol. Alcohol and phenol with same double bond equivalence can act as a functional isomers. That I will tell you now. So just I am talking about these three. These three are positional isomers, right? Okay. So you see now functional isomerism. So this is like the heart of the isomerism. Here you have to remember many sets. So what is the first set? 10 sets are there. That those are very important parts. Alkenes we will start with. Alkenes and cycloalkenes are one of the functional isomers. They have the general formula CnH2n, exactly double alkene formula, right? So formula is also important. By looking at the formula, you can say alkenes and cycloalkenes is one set. Next one, alkynes and alkadienes. What are alkadienes? What are dienes? Compounds having two double bonds. So dienes again classified into three types. Okay, fine. So here there are some sets of 10 sets are there. We have to remember for functional isomerism. There are 10 sets. Children. So first set is alkene and cycloalkane. Am I clear? Alkenes and cycloalkanes. Next set is alkyne and alkadiene. Okay. Alkynes and alkadienes, and even cycloalkenes will have the same formula. What is it? CnH2n minus 2. Alkyne formula. Simple formula. Okay. And the third set is, after telling the sets, I will give you examples how to call. Alcohol and ethers. So here alkadienes, are you aware of it? What are alkadienes? These are the conjugated system compounds. Alkadienes are three types. What are those? Conjugated, cumulated, and isolated. Okay. So what are conjugated dienes? If the two double bonds are separated by one single bond, those are called as conjugated diene. So best example is butadiene. 1,3-butadiene is a conjugated double bond. Okay. 1,3-butadiene is conjugated because two double bonds are separated by one single bond. And what is cumulative diene? If the two double bonds are adjacent to each other, this is called as alene. Cumulates, alene system. If the two double bonds are side by side, that is called as cumulative double bond. So here the hybridization of the carbon is also Sp, you might be knowing, very important. Okay. Now isolated means if the two double bonds are separated by more than one single bond. If the two double bonds are separated by more than one single bond, then that is called isolated double bond. Isolated diene. So dienes are three types: conjugated diene, cumulated diene, and isolated diene. Cumulated diene and isolated. Okay, am I clear, children? Okay, that is one set. Now alcohols and ethers. So what are alcohols, children? So monoalkyl derivative of water is called as alcohol. How do we define alcohol? It is monoalkyl derivative of water. You might be knowing the formula water, H2O. In this one hydrogen, if you replace with an alkyl group or anything, that we call it as alcohol. Monoalkyl derivative of water is called alcohol. And what is ether, children? You can now tell. Dialkyl derivative of water is called as ether. ROR. Monoalkyl derivative, that is dialkyl derivative. Fine. Or you can say hydroxyl derivative of alkene. Alkene you will write like this. So in this, instead of hydrogen, you are keeping OH. So hydroxyl derivative of alkene is also called as alcohol. So you can tell in terms of water or tell in terms of alkene. Fine now. So alcohols and ethers are one set of functional isomers. Because what are functional isomers? Same molecular formula, but different in the functional group. Next, fourth one, very, very important. This is also aldehydes, ketones, enones, unsaturated alcohols, somewhere related but not same. Unsaturated alcohol. Next, cyclic ethers and cyclic alcohols also will come in. These are one set of functional isomers. Okay. Aldehydes, ketones, enones, unsaturated alcohol, cyclic ethers, and cyclic alcohols will come under this category, fourth category. So, what is the formula for this alcohols and ethers? Simply alkane plus O. Alkane, you might be knowing alkane formula. Just put one O extra. That's it. As simple as such, right? CnH2n plus 2 plus O. That is the formula. By looking into it, you can say. Suppose if I have given you C4H10O, immediately you can find that is an alcohol or an ether because alkane formula plus one O is there. That is it. So here aldehydes, ketones. How to find this? Simple. Alkene plus O. Alkene formula you might be aware of it. Alkene formula CnH2n. But put one O. Suppose I have given you C3H6O. So what category it is? By looking at the molecule, you can say C3H6O is a aldehyde category. Aldehyde or ketone. These two are together called as carbonyl compounds. Aldehydes and ketones together called as carbonyl compounds because they have carbonyl group, C double bond group. Okay, children, this is the fourth step. Are you noting down? Now, fifth step. You can take as acids, esters, mainly. Okay, acids and esters is one set. Next, primary, secondary, tertiary amines. So what are amines again? What are amines? Acids means you know RCOH, carboxyl group will be there. Amines are nothing but derivatives of ammonia. How will you define amines? Derivatives of ammonia are called as amines. So they contain lone pair of electron on it. That is the reason amines are basic in nature, right? Amines and their derivatives are basic in nature. Ammonia and its derivatives. Sorry. Ammonia and its derivatives. So derivatives of ammonia are called as amines. So if you replace one hydrogen of ammonia with an R group, that is called as primary amine. And if you replace two hydrogens, that is called secondary amine, like this. If you replace all the three hydrogens in ammonia, that is called as tertiary amine. Okay. So like that, these derivatives of ammonia are called maybe same or different group. That R may be same or different. These are called as tertiary amines. Okay. So don't confuse about tertiary alcohols and tertiary amines. So one time they have given the question, what type of amine is this? So you may be aware of tertiary carbon. So like this, suppose they have given. So this is tertiary alcohol, but this is primary amine, children. This might be tertiary carbon is there. So for alcohol case, you will define separately. If the OH group is attached to the 3-degree carbon, that is called as tertiary alcohol. But for amine case, if the NH2 group is attached to here, how many hydrogens got replaced? You have to check it out. So ammonia, only one hydrogen is replaced. So that is why it is primary amine. Okay, so you are clear. Next thing. So primary, secondary, tertiary amines are not the same category. They are 3 different functional groups. Primary, secondary, tertiary amines are 3 different functional groups. After that, we will see cyanates and isocyanates. Cyanates and isocyanates are the same. So next we will see nitro compounds. Cyanates, you know, I think RCN and RNC. Right. Next one, nitro compounds. That is nitroalkanes and alkyl nitrites. Is it clear? Or nitroalkanes and alkyl nitrites. So nitroalkane means N will be attached to them like this. If suppose methyl group is there, nitromethane, nitroethane like that. And alkyl nitrites means O will be attached to it. So these two are what type of isomers? Means functional isomers. Okay. So next what else will be there? The 10 sets you have to remember. So that's it mainly. So and I told you alcohols and phenols also can act as what? Functional isomers. This is very important point. Provided the double bond influence should be same. Just now previously I told you. Okay, now some examples we will do on this. How to find the isomer and all that. So shall I erase? You might be having in your book. Now suppose what if they have asked how many number of isomers possible for C4H10O? Can you tell? C4H10O, how many isomers are possible for this? So first of all, what is this formula? C4H10O. This is the formula related to alcohol and ether, right? So how many alcohols can we write here? So that we will see now. So first 4 carbons right side you can write. This is one alcohol, butanol, one butanol, and again 4 carbons but OH like this. So this is secondary butyl alcohol or 2 butanol. So with 4 carbon 2 are possible. And this is iso also we can write now. Isobutyl alcohol. And fourth one, tertiary butyl alcohol. Okay, these are the 4 alcohols possible for that. Yes, is it clear? And I am audible, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4 are the alcohols possible. This OH you can't keep here because again it gives the same result. And this OH if you keep here, that is also same. So these are the 4 alcohols. And coming to ethers. So ethers, what is the functional isomer? Alcohol. So ether we can write like this now. ROR. This is one ether. And like this. Like this. So these are ethers. 3 ethers. ROR. Just what I did. 4 out of 4 carbons, 2 I wrote here. Ethyl ethyl. So this is diethyl ether or ethoxy ethyl. This is methyl and propyl I wrote. 1 carbon here, 3 carbon. Those 3 carbons again I can do like this. Okay. So while doing a question, you have to do on all format. Means the question may be number of isomers. Then the answer is, see here, 5 different types of questions can be asked to the same question. So first one, number of isomers are 7. Right? And I am talking about only structural isomers. Again, if it is stereo, it is a different case. You have to check the stereo carbon. I am talking only about structural isomers, number of structural isomers. Because in some carbons we have asymmetric carbon, then you have again 2 isomers here. So that is a different scenario. Okay, and here also you may have asymmetric carbon, then it is will have 2 more. So don't think about stereo isomers. Structural isomers are 7. So these are 4 plus 3, 7. So if they are asking how many alcohols, means 4 alcohols, and how many ethers? 3 ethers. Sometimes they will ask how many primary alcohols are also present in this. How many primary alcohols are present? And how many secondary and tertiary? So these two are primary alcohols. So primary alcohols are two. This one and this one. That is 1 and 3 are primary alcohols. And this is a secondary alcohol. 2-degree alcohol is 1. And 3-degree alcohol is 1. So like this you are having 4 alcohols. Fine. Now in what way these and these are connected? These two. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, can anyone? This is 5, 6, 7. How 1 and 5 are connected? 1 and 5. One and 5 are connected in what manner? Functional isomer. Okay. So 5 and 6. 5 and 6. No, they are not positioned. No. No. So these are a separate category. Those are called as metamers. Metamer. So what do you mean by metamer? There are two conditions for metamer. So here I am involving that. Same molecular formula, same MF, same functional group, but length of the carbon chain is different. Length of the carbon chain attached to the double bonds is different. Attached to the two groups. Okay, length of the carbon chain attached to functional group. These are all bivalent functional groups. In case of bivalent functional groups, you can have metamer concept. Okay. So ethoxyethane and methoxypropane, these two are metamers. Why? Because both are having same molecular formula and same functional group also. Functional group also same, but difference in length of the carbon chain attached to functional group. Attached to the bivalent functional group. So in case of bivalent functional groups only, this is possible. Okay, children. So here, how many sets of functional isomers are possible? They may ask. So 4, 3, sir, 12. Because each alcohol there, one ether is a functional isomer. So you can write what are the sets of functional isomers here. How many sets of functional isomers are present? Means 1, 5. Okay, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5. Like that for each isomer, this is a functional isomer. So here only you are getting 4 sets. So 4, 3 is 12. So what is the next question? How many sets of functional isomers are possible? Means 12 sets of functional isomers are possible. 12 sets. Because for each alcohol, one ether is a functional isomer. So 12 pair of functional isomers are present here. And if they are, suppose they are asking how many metamers are present. So 5 and 6 are metamers. Again 5 and 7 are metamers. 6 and 7 are metamers. So 3 sets of metamers are present. 5, 6 are metamers, 6, 7 and 5, 7. You get my point? Am I clear? Am I going little faster? Right, those are metamers. So metamers you can observe in bifunctional case. Means your answer is right in case of ketones. If you take ketone, again is a bifunctional group. Same you can take with the ketone, but the formula is C4H8O. Because ketone formula, how to remember easily? Alkene plus O. So if you take 4 carbon thing, this is no 5 you take, then only you can find the metamers. So C5H10O if you take, then what are those? 2-pentanone, right? You can write 3-pentanone. So these two are what type of isomers? 2-pentanone and 3-pentanone are what type of isomers? Then you can say position or metamers, both. But if the generally will treat it as metamers, but according to the options you can go positional and metamers. These are okay, because there is change in the double bond and also here same functional group, same molecular formula, but the groups attached to the functional group are different. Here 1 and 3 are there, here 2 and 2 are there. So that is why these two are treated as metamerism. Okay, in which case metamerism is again possible. Secondary amines also same manner you can do. Secondary amines means N1H will be there, and here if you change the R group, you can get it or not, metamerism. So metamerism will be possible only in case of bifunctional things. So we can't do metamerism in monofunctional compounds like alcohols, cyanates, like this we can't do. Okay, or alkyl halides, we can't show metamerism in monofunctional group like nitroalkane. These are all monofunctional groups. In monofunctional groups, we can't see metamerism. Bifunctional groups means the functional group having two valences like secondary amines, esters. These all things we can see. So some more questions we will do on this. Okay, now C3H6O. How many number of isomers are possible? The structural isomers possible for C3H6O. This is one of the nice questions. Number of structural isomers. Just do it for 2 minutes. Number of structural isomers possible for C3H6O. Okay, first double bond equivalence you find, children. C3H6O means is the cycle possible or not? You can check that. Double bond equivalence is 1. So 1 means it can be a double bond or it can be a cycle. So this you keep in our mind. One cycle. Then you find what are the things will come. Yes, can anyone tell the answer? 2 minutes I am giving you time. No. Are you trying, anyone? Okay, I will tell you. So first, this is a formula for aldehyde, correct? So that is why you have to remember those steps. Next, ketone, alkene plus O, children. Alkene plus O is the formula given for aldehydes and ketones. So aldehyde, ketone, or it can be enolactone, or it can be unsaturated alcohol. Okay, all unsaturated alcohols are enols, but all enols are unsaturated alcohols. That I tell you the difference now. Next, it can be a cyclic alcohol or cyclic ether. This you keep in mind so that you will get the isomers. This is the main question. Previous C3H6O. So first one, aldehyde, because why 3 carbons means minimum carbons required to form a ketone is 3. Aldehydes is 1, but for ketone minimum number of carbons are 3. Okay, so ketone can't be less than 3 carbons. Now, first aldehyde you take. Aldehyde, what is the functional group? CHO. So I can write 2 more. So this is the first one, aldehyde, propanol it is, first isomer. Now second one is ketone, CH3, C double bond O, CH3. So this is aldehyde and that is ketone. Okay, these two clear? Everyone can write. So first is aldehyde, other one is ketone. Now third one you see unsaturated alcohol. So here you will get this ketone enol form, you write CH3 COH double bond CH2. So this is called enol form. It's a ketone. And fourth one again, this enol can be like this. First carbon itself you may have. Okay, that is also one set of enol. And you can, these two are what system, children? Vinyl system. Vinyl means CH2 double bond CH system is called as vinyl system. These two are vinylic bonds. Now next one you can take allyl. What do you mean by allyl? Alkyl halide chapter you might have done with that. So this is called an allyl system. Means an sp3 carbon which in turn attached to sp2 carbon. An sp3 carbon which in turn attached to sp2 is an allylic system. So if you write OH here, allyl alcohol, this is called as allyl system. Like this also you can give. So this carbon is allyl carbon and this is allyl carbon. Double bond and sp3 carbon which is in turn attached to sp2 is called as allyl system. So these are the enols. So this is enol, this is enol, this is unsaturated alcohol. And now the sixth one is the cyclic system because now double bond I wrote. So double bond is over. Now I have to take ring. So ring cyclic ether you can take 4-membered one. 1, 2, 3. So C3H6O cyclic ether, or else you can take it as this one. 3-membered cyclic ether with one attached group. So this is the 7th isomer. One cycle is there. And I told you cyclic alcohol also. So this is the 8th one. Yes, are there any other isomers possible? Cyclic alcohol. So like this, you have to check everything and you have to do the isomers for that. So this is one of the question. Number of isomers possible for that. So one more will come. Yeah. Unsaturated ether also can be there now. Unsaturated ether. So I will write ether form like this. Unsaturated ether like this. Means methyl vinyl ether. Yes. So answer is 9 isomers are possible. 9 structural isomers are possible. Is it clear? All the 9? Make a note. But we'll go to the next question. Is it clear now? Everything whatever I wrote on the board. So the number of structural isomers formed for C3H6O is 9. Thank you, Ayush. So just you have to see the system and accordingly go. See, aldehyde, ketone are there. So aldehyde I wrote, ketone I wrote, enough. Because you won't get any other aldehyde other than first carbon. So next we go to enol. Enol, there are 3 forms. Okay, children. So we'll continue tomorrow the same thing. Understood? Just go through the sets. We will do some more assignment on that. Thank you for listening. Shall I end? So today topics are clear.